Hey everyone, George here, and welcome back to the channel, The Art of Water. And today we're going to talk about this tank here. Had a little problem with it over the weekend that didn't anticipate, but it is what it is. So anyways, basically what happened here is, as you can see, I've got some cellophane around the top here, keep fish from jumping out, but basically what happened is the top that was on this thing, it's been running about a year now, and I've never had any problems with the top of this thing. There's a little black piece that fit on the glass top, and that slipped out and fell and broke into a million pieces. Put a nice gash in my beautiful floors here as well, but it is what it is. So anyways, long story short is we're going to rescape this guy. I really hadn't talked about rescaping this or thought about it, rescaping it for a while, but we're kind of forcing my hand on this one. So I think what we're going to do is put a 10-gallon low iron here made by Landon, and I think it's going to look really good. This is part of my office area, so been thinking about rescaping this anyway, but really hadn't thought about doing anything anytime soon. So we will use a lot of what's in here as far as the wood. We'll use the substrate so we can cycle the tank immediately, and also put a different pump in here, a different heater in here that is going to hold up to being able to heat the tank up. This room is pretty warm anyway. I don't even know if we need a heater. We'll see what happens. But basically, we're going to rescape this tank, and we're going to get at it right away here. So let's do it. So this is the 10-gallon Landon that I talked about. I think this is going to be a great tank for the fish to go in here. You got about twice the space of what they're in right now. They are nano fish, so I'm not too worried about the size of the tank, but as you can see, this is pretty dirty and it does need to be cleaned out. I'm not going to put you through watching me clean this thing out and whatever. I know a lot of people do that. It's kind of a gimmicky thing that people do. I'm just not interested in letting you watch me clean this thing and scrub it out and doing the fast forward thing and whatever. I know that makes for some nice videos. I'm just not interested in doing that. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this 10-gallon Landon up. This is a low iron tank that when you get it all cleaned up, it's just a really, really pretty tank to use. I might debadge it too. I don't know. I don't care that it's a Landon. It doesn't really make any difference. I don't get anything from Landon for advertising for them. And I just think that in the big picture, this is just a really nice little tank that we're going to be using. It does have a top on it that was similar to the other one, only this one has clips that are a little more stable. Taking the glass on and off here is not going to be so hazardous as it was with the other one. I've had this tank running for a couple of years with different scapes in it over a period of time. So I think that in the big picture, this is going to look really good, and it's going to take me a few hours to scape it. Like I said, I'm not going to put you through the whole process of watching me clean this thing up and all that. We're just going to get it cleaned up, and the next clip that you see here is going to be me scaping that tank or laying out a design for this tank right here. I think it's going to look really pretty. It's like I said, it's going to offer twice the size for the fish that are in the tank right now. They've been in there for a long time. They've been doing really well. Basically, there's Ember Tetras in there, and there's a couple of varieties of dwarf rainbow fish, a couple of different varieties. And we'll talk about that more as we get this scape done. Anyways, for right now, please leave some comments and let me know what kind of ideas you have for this particular tank. I'm interested in hearing anything you have to say. This is going to be basically a two-part series that we're going to do, and I think that the next one will just be doing the second part of this series will be just on the scaping of it after I've cleaned it up and everything, and I've got it where I want it. And I think that'll be kind of fun. I really want your comments. I really want to, because I think unlike a lot of channels, the input really isn't there. It's all about my ideas or someone else's ideas. And I think sometimes having someone make some comments about something, following people's advice, looking into what they really would like to see, and taking those ideas and implementing them into a new design is always something that I have found to be really, really helpful. So with the scape materials that I have, the hardscape, the plants, everything, the wood that I'm going to be using from that other tank and adding to this, I haven't really decided on what kind of stone I'm going to use yet, but whatever that might be, I think that's going to be a great benefit to me to have you guys kind of tell me. Now, I got 3 rocks that I'm interested in using. It's either going to be dragonstone, it's going to be the maple stone that's already in there, or some Frodo stone. I haven't decided on which one I'm going to use yet. I haven't used Frodo stone much in the past. I'm kind of leaning towards that idea, but not 100% on that. So if you can give me some ideas, I do love the maple stone and I do love the dragon stone. I have both, and I just think it'll be a real interesting tank. And it's not going to be an island style tank like the other one. This one has the capabilities of doing a few more different ideas that I have in mind. So whatever I end up with, I hope it's going to look great. And please, like I said, leave some comments so I know which direction to go in. Anyways, leave your comments below, right down here. And also, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And that shows me that you like the content of what I'm doing, and gives me an opportunity to just sort of get some idea that my videos are going over well with people. Now, I'd like to see subscriptions go up, obviously. I'd also want you to hit that like button. If you can hit that like button, I'd sure appreciate it. It's something that just shows me that there are people interested in my scapes and the videos that I'm putting out, and makes it a little bit more of a commitment for me to do it because there is an interest. So like I said, give me some ideas, leave some comments, and we'll talk again real soon. So in summation, I think we have a pretty good idea design-wise of what we're going to do with this tank, and I think that I kind of went over the different ideas that I have for this. I hope that you guys will give me some comments and some input so that I have some idea as to which direction you would like to see me go with this tank. Now, I'm not 100% sure exactly what I'm going to use for hardscape in here. I have a couple of different ideas. We talked about the different stones that I have. I'm sort of leaning towards something different and unique that I haven't used before, but at the same time, I really like the maple stone that's in there. I was just looking at it one more time before I start to tear this thing down, and it really is a pretty stone. As far as livestock goes, the whole idea was to put these fish in a bigger tank and to have that tank look, different than what it is right now. And in order to do that, I think that I'm going to have to really put some thought into the design. That's going to take me a couple of days to sort of put that idea together and to make sure that what I'm doing is exactly how I want this thing to turn out. There's nothing worse than starting a scape and then changing your mind about it because you had a change of heart, or you just basically didn't think it through. So we're going to give this a lot of thought over the next couple of days. I'm going to, like I said, rely on a lot of your comments on this first part of this 2-part series on designing this tank, and I'm really going to take it as something that's very important to me. Those comments are really going to define in many ways what direction I go with this, and I hope you will leave those comments and let me know what you think is a great design or would be a great design for a tank like this. I've got lots of plants on hand. I always keep lots of plants on hand. I keep lots of wood on hand. I keep lots of hardscape on hand. Sometimes when I'm at a supplier and I see something I like, even though I don't have a particular idea in mind for it at the time, I pick it up just so that I've got it on hand. And that's that's always a good thing to do if you're designing a lot of tanks and you're scaping a lot, to have extra things uh, available to you is really not a bad thing to have. It's actually kind of a nice situation to be in. So as far as plants goes, I have plenty of plants on hand. I think we're going to continue to use a lot of what was in the tank. There were quite a few crypts in there. There was some anubias in there. Not much else other than that. I think there's a few ferns in the back and maybe even a sword or something like that. But we'll go through and we'll look at it and make sure that what we have is going to be a nice layout and add some nice contrast to the tank, so that when we're done, we can look at it and go, wow, that looks great. I'm not sure about the front of the tank. We talked about that in the last clip here about whether or not I was going to put a lot of plants, carpet plants in the front of this, or if I was going to leave it open. I'm not really sure on that. I think I'm going to let that sort of work itself out when we start to scape this over the next couple of days or next week, to make sure that we've got exactly the kind of scape in mind that is going to look good and give these fish the most room that they can possibly get. Like I said, they're in a 5.7 gallon right now. We're sort of doubling the size, so anything I put them in that's bigger is going to be beneficial. They've been in there almost a year. They've done really well. I thought about changing the stock in there and maybe going with another direction. I have plenty of room in other tanks around my house to put these fish if I wanted to, but we'll just sort of see how that goes. I may end up keeping things exactly the way they are, which are Ember Tetras and a few variety of the dwarf rainbows. But I'm not positive on that. So there's nothing set in stone as far as the ideas that I have on what I'm going to do. So I will sort of analyze that and sort of take that one step at a time and make sure that I do have a good amount of stuff on hand that I can kind of go in lots of different directions as I see it. But I do want to have a design in mind where I'm not shooting from the hip at the end here, because I think that's the worst thing you can do, as I said earlier in the video. Trying to design a tank based on shooting from the hip, I just think is a really bad idea. You can get yourself in a lot of trouble. It costs you money, it costs you time, it costs you a lot of effort that you don't need. I've got 25 tanks in my house here, so by the time I'm done messing around with stuff like that, if I don't have a clear idea on what I want to do, I've really, taken a lot of time away from things that I could be doing. And I do run a business as well, so this is a hobby for me. This is not my line of work, and I've told you that before. So, I have X amount of time that I can give to this, and my family has been extremely supportive of me with all this, so I appreciate that, and I want to thank them for their love and their support for the videos that I do put out. Again, subscribe, hit that like button, leave some comments, because this one here, the comments are going to make all the difference in the world in which direction I go on this. So as I said, I want this to be an interactive. That's why it's a two-part series. I want this to be interactive. I want your comments so that I know exactly what ideas out there that you guys might have that are going to be something that I could implement, and just kind of go from there, because it's very important to me that you sort of come up with some ideas too, and we come up with a scape that not only I like, but you like, and everybody's happy. Anyways, George here with The Art of Water. Thank you for watching, and thank you for taking the time to leave comments, which I hope you will, and we'll talk again real soon.